This weekend, leftists and House Democrats tried to hijack Charlie Kirk's memorial and make it something that it wasn't. As we're going to discuss on the show today, I think that they failed miserably. We're going to start with this. There were over 300,000 people who attended Charlie Kirk's funeral service this weekend. It was a massive success. Here is a video just to show you how big the number of people was. So those were just the people waiting in line. The stadium that they had the memorial in only fits about 73,000 people. So there were a ton that weren't even able to get inside. Now, of course, despite this being very uplifting, it was very Christ-centered. There were some leftists protesting on the outside with fake Christian signs. Take a look. Leave it to the fake Christian left to protest a grieving widow while, again, inside the stadium, they are literally talking about their faith in Christ. And you would think it could not possibly get worse optically or morally for these people, but it does. It gets much worse. Leftists from the alternative media, as well as the mainstream media, also in the squad, in the house, I'm talking about the full breadth of the left, noticed that this event was just a little too popular. It was going a little too well. It's changing the hearts of Americans a little too well. And so they did what they always do with these things. They called Republicans Nazis. This is what Destiny, who's a popular leftist streamer, if you didn't know, tweeted out. He tweeted out, this Charlie Kirk memorial, is indistinguishable from a Nazi rally and F anyone who wants to pretend it's not. It's not. Not even close. So just to be clear, if you gather right now, as a group of Christians and praise Jesus, you are a Nazi. That's what leftists actually believe. Ilhan Omar, again, a sitting U.S. Congresswoman, went on CNN to the surprise of even Caitlin Collins, who is the host, who is very left-wing, and Ilhan Omar said that she is happy Charlie's gone and that his legacy is complete garbage.
I just think it was the video where it called him Dr. Frankenstein and said his monster shot him through the neck. I mean, obviously this is a person, and looking at this is someone who was a husband and a father, and in the days after his shocking death, that happened as a result of his views, or it happened as a result as he was sharing his views publicly with people, that people found it jarring to hear such criticism of that in the immediate aftermath of
what
death.
I find jarring is that there are so many people willing to excuse the most reprehensible things that he said, that they agree with that they're willing to have monuments for him, that they want to create a day to honor him, and that they want to produce resolutions in the House of Congress honoring his life and legacy. It is one thing to care about his life, because obviously so many people loved him, including his children and wife. But I am not going to sit here and be judged for not wanting to honor any legacy this man has left behind. That should be in the dustbin of history, and we should hopefully move on and forget the hate that he spewed every single day.
It's like these people are trying to lose all credibility with Americans, because again, she was saying this the same day as Charlie Kirk's memorial service. So again, just on a human level, this isn't even political. Like, even if you don't like Charlie Kirk, the kind of language just hurts the ears. Like that, what she's saying there, that Charlie Kirk's legacy should just be put in the garbage, is horrible. And nobody wants to hear that. Nobody likes to hear this about a widow and her dead husband. I don't know what these people are thinking when it comes to their reelection campaign. And speaking again of horrible House Congresswoman, Jasmine Crockett also went on CNN, talked about how she was actually the real victim of Charlie Kirk's assassination.
You know what? One of the things I do want to point out that's not been laid out that honestly hurts my heart is when I saw the no votes, there were only 2 Caucasians. For the most part, the only people that voted no were people of color, because the rhetoric that Charlie Kirk continuously put out there was rhetoric that specifically targeted people of color. And so it is unfortunate that even our colleagues could not see how harmful his rhetoric was.
Okay, so for clarification, what Jasmine Crockett's talking about, the vote she is referring to is about a resolution that was in the House and the Senate. It passed easily. And it was to honor Charlie Kirk's life and basically make October 14th Charlie Kirk Remembrance Day. And what she's saying is that she and her black colleagues are the real victims, not Charlie Kirk. not Charlie Kirk, who was literally the one shot in the neck. She is a victim because they happened to put it on George Floyd's birthday, I presume. I think that's the reason why they're pissed about it being October 14th, which is ridiculous considering who George Floyd was and who Charlie Kirk was, respectively. Now, there's an infinite number of examples of leftists trying to make this funeral something it's just not. I think the reality is the funeral was a huge, huge success for one reason and one reason only. And the reason why is it was centered on Jesus Christ, which is clearly what Charlie Kirk would have wanted. Where Charlie Kirk's memorial gets a little bit more controversial this weekend was when Tucker Carlson took the stage. He spoke, and I'll be honest with you guys, Tucker Carlson has been a big frustration for me recently. I think his ties to Qatar are very troubling. His sudden anti-Semitic, anti-Israel talk, very, very interesting. And so when there was this outrage that came out about what Tucker said at the funeral, my immediate reaction was to be outraged as well. To think, oh yeah, he probably said something very stupid, is probably very anti-Semitic, that he'd hijacked the funeral for his political gain, which is what he does sometimes at events. But this one, I watched it. I actually disagree a lot with what people are saying. A lot of people I usually agree with, by the way. Tucker Carlson, I watched the video, gave a really, really good speech at Charlie's funeral or his memorial. And that part was really, this one part that was very controversial, I think was actually spot on. I think it's really good. If you haven't seen it yet, here's what he said.
Ultimately, he was a Christian evangelist. And it actually reminds me of my favorite story ever. So it's about 2,000 years ago in Jerusalem, and Jesus shows up and he starts talking about the people in power, and he starts doing the worst thing that you can do, which is telling the truth about people, and they hate it, and they just go bonkers. They hate it, and they become obsessed with making him stop. This guy's got to stop talking. We've got to shut this guy up. And I can just sort of picture the scene in a lamplit room with a bunch of guys sitting around eating hummus, thinking about what do we do about this guy telling the truth about us? We must make him stop talking. And there's always one guy with the bright idea, and I can just hear him say, I've got an idea, why don't we just kill him? That'll shut him up. That'll fix the problem. It doesn't work that way.
It's the same story. That's Tucker's point, right? Is that Charlie Kirk, Jesus in this scenario, the exact same. The easiest thing that evil people can do to make people stop talking is to murder them. That's what they do. It happened to Jesus. It's now happened to Charlie Kirk. Now, the problem that people say they have with Tucker is that they see what he said as anti-Semitic. And I just don't see it. I don't think Tucker intended it that way. I don't think he's saying that Jews killed Charlie Kirk. I don't think that was the point of him using the analogy of Christ's life. Many Christians online right now are saying that Jews didn't kill Jesus, which, again, technically, Romans were the one that crucified Jesus, but I don't think that we should forget that Pharisees and the people openly said that the death of Jesus were on their heads and on the heads of their children. That's in the Bible. They literally said that they have the culpability of it and they're fine with that. So that's their words, not mine. I don't think that's anti-Semitic in any way to say. It's just a fact. On the other hand, the other reason why people didn't really like what Tucker said is because he's laughing there at the end, which again, I actually think the laugh is well intended. The reason Tucker is laughing is he is laughing at the notion that assassinating Charlie or assassinating Jesus Christ stopped their message. It's laughable. Like, looking at either example at this point in history, it's funny because Jesus' message obviously exploded. And so what happened, and Christ, of course, knew this was all part of God's plan, is that the Pharisees ended up making it far worse for themselves by crucifying Christ. And what Tucker is saying, I think, is the exact same thing. There were 300,000 people trying to get into Charlie's funeral. So it is laughable that the shooter thought that this would stifle Charlie's message either, just like the Pharisees with Jesus. Like I said, I think Tucker nailed it. I don't agree with him on a lot of things in politics right now. I think what he's doing with his show is wrong. But the fake outrage over what he said is just that. It's fake. It doesn't really make sense to me. Here's my favorite part of his message. I think it really sums up who Charlie was.
But the main thing about Charlie and his message, he was bringing the gospel to the country. He was doing the thing that the people in charge hate most, which is calling for them to repent.
He's absolutely right. There is nothing that makes people more angry than being called to repentance. Nothing does. And I think that's a beautiful message to take away from Charlie's life. By the way, nearly everyone who spoke did a really fantastic job. Tucker Carlson was not the only one. You had Donald Trump, Elon Musk, Marco Rubio, and then the culminating moment, the best moment, the moment that I think really embodies Christianity in its purest form, more than anything, was when Erica, Charlie's wife, took the stage. Her whole speech was very good, but the best part, she got up, told everyone that she had forgiven Charlie's assassin.
That young man, I forgive him.
As she should. As she should. It is one of the most often repeated commandments of Christ in the Gospels, and I have no doubt that Erica will be blessed for forgiving him. And that's a beautiful thing. We can act like, I saw some Christians online. There were a lot of people. Surprisingly, this was a bit of a controversy, saying, no, she should not forgive him. There are consequences. And people are missing the point. There is justice, and this shooter will receive justice. I live in the state of Utah. If you didn't hear, I live 3 minutes from where this happened. And there will be justice. The death penalty will be happening for this young man. No question. The justice will be served. At the same time, if you don't forgive people for even their worst acts, that only poisons your own heart. And I think Erica understands this. I think this is just such a slam dunk of a message for America, that Erica would take, the worst thing that can probably ever happen to you, someone taking the life of your spouse or children. I don't think it gets worse than that. And saying they forgive them. That is the best thing that you could ever do. It is the most Christian thing you could ever do. Anyone who denies that or goes against that, not a Christian, does not understand the message of Christ, does not understand his atonement, his mission, does not understand God. Period, full stop. The left obviously has tried to hijack this funeral. They have tried to make it a Nazi rally. It is not. It is a rally that showed millions and millions of people what real Christ-like love means. From Erica to Charlie, but also from Erica to the murderer of Charlie. That's the biggest message of this. The left is not able to co-opt it. There are millions of people who watch the stream. There are hundreds and thousands of people who are at the memorial. There is not a single political tool, not an institution or a message or a politician that can effectuate as much change as this funeral or memorial or whatever you want to call it. I really believe, truly, that it will have downstream ramifications for our country for decades to come. The progressive left is a cult. I talk all about it in my book, A New Cult. Go check it out right now, guys. I talk about a lot of things I just simply can't talk about because of big tech, but it's all there in the book. It's fantastic. I had a great time writing it. I know you'll enjoy reading it as well. The link is in the description below. Democrats are so misaligned with everyday Americans right now. A new series of polls just came out showing who is leading in 2028, and it is directly mismatched with the most popular people on the left. That's not saying much. There's not that many people, but there are some people on the left, in the Democrat Party who actually might be able to run a decent campaign. The people who are polling ahead right now are not those people. So without further ado, you can see the polling trend line. This is from January 1st, and you can see that there is quite a bit of movement among people. And what you see, this is from April 1st to today, is that Harris has gone from about 35% approval, 35% in the polls. And again, this is an average of all the polls. This is not just one. And I like averages because, you get out the BS on both sides. What you see is that Harris has gone from 35% to 21%. So, and that might not sound like a great trend for her, and I guess it's not fantastic, but she still goes from the top dog to second by a long shot. She is in second, only second to Newsom, who has seen the real big increase from 6% to 26% in the lead. So they're the top dogs at 26 and 21%. After that, you can see there's a huge drop. There's just no one really even close to them. You've got Buttigieg, who has not changed his polling at all. 1% he's changed. AOC has changed by 2%. And then you've got people at the bottom like Josh Shapiro, who is the most popular Democrat governor, except for maybe Andy Beshear. And in April, he was at 4%. Now he's at 3%. He has gone down. That is what you're looking at right now. Their top choices are California Democrats, Gavin Newsom, Kamala Harris, who ruined their state and will do horribly in the primaries. If you know anything about either Gavin Newsom or Kamala Harris, you know they will not do well in a primary. Kamala Harris cannot run a primary. She has proven that. She proved it so much that in 2024, they didn't have a primary because it was the only way that she was going to win the nominees if they didn't have a primary. So I don't think she's going to win the nomination because they are going to hold a primary. They have to. They can't get away with that twice in a row. They really can't. They will lose everybody. There were so many Democrats pissed at how that went down in 2024. They can't get away with it again. So she's done. Gavin Newsom is good at running primaries if you look at how he's done. However, with his track record and all his scandals in California, it's going to be a brutal primary for him. I'm not saying it's impossible, but he's going to get reamed by people like AOC and other non-establishment Democrats. Gavin Newsom is the definition of establishment Democrat. He is a slick man version of Nancy Pelosi. That's what he is. And so he's going to get reamed by the non-establishment Democrats, and this is why Democrats are in trouble. They've got no unity whatsoever. None. Their primary is going to get nasty. Nasty. The GOP primary, not going to be nasty. Vance going to win no matter what, whether you like him or not. He is so far ahead. He has better polling right now than Donald Trump did in this time of the last election cycle. And he was a freaking incumbent president, right? That's how unified the GOP is right now. You're going to see their highest polling candidates get torn apart by the lower polling ones. And then one of the lower polling ones likely is going to win the nomination. That's my prediction. I predict AOC, could be Buttigieg. I think Buttigieg is a bit of a long stretch because he's gay, and I think a lot of people know that that's not going to fly with a lot of independents. Atlas Intel just came out with a favorability poll for top politicians. This tells a similar story. What you see is that a lot of these people who are a little bit more popular, like Buttigieg, if you look at the Democrat Party, ignore the Republicans for a second. If you look at the Democrat Party in here, and you look at the ones that can actually run, Barack Obama, Michelle Obama can't run. I mean, Michelle Obama could. She said she's not going to. You see Buttigieg, quite popular. Who's the next up? AOC, quite popular. Maybe not generally, but compared to the ones like Mamdani at the bottom, or Hillary Clinton, or Newsom, those are all people who could run, theoretically. And yet the people who are polling the worst, like Buttigieg and AOC, are actually the most favorable. Americans like them the most. That's the problem that they have. So Democrats have this exactly inverted. Their top polling candidates have the lowest approval ratings. That is the recipe for a disaster among independents. Independents will not vote for Democrats like that. It's why, despite being the opposition party, they are not polling well even for 2026 if you look. Right now, 2026, this is from a National Association of Independent Pollsters, so multiple pollsters in one. Basically, Democrats and Republicans are tied, and this is with a margin of plus or minus 2%. So they're completely tied statistically. If that poll holds up, it will be a historic fail for Democrats. They may not even get the House with those numbers, but if they did, it would be by the smallest margin in years in terms of midterms, and the Senate would easily stay for Republicans. So if you're the Republican Party right now and you're Trump, the strategy is to not do anything too crazy. Keep it pretty simple. Make small improvements, obviously, especially in the economy, because the economy is the thing that's going to have the largest impact on any election, including the midterms. But don't do anything drastic. You don't need to. The numbers look good, and the Democrat Party is their worst own enemy right now. Before you go, I wanted to let you know about We the Free. We the Free is a conservative streaming platform that doesn't hate you like the other liberal ones do. They've got fantastic movies, shows, political commentary like mine, as well as a ton of Second Amendment content. Go check them out right now. The link is in the description below. Thank you so much for watching this episode, everybody. Please like the video so other patriots will see it. And you can watch every single episode live at 6 p.m. Eastern every day. And you can watch another video right here.